Good morning to all. Today, today we'll be discussing scoring matrices. Scoring matrices are used to determine the relative score made by matching two characters in a sequence alignment. In the previous session, we have discussed the alignment in which matrices were created. The sequences I and J or A and B, whatever sequences that you're comparing, it will be arranged in rows and columns. So the matching of each sequences against the other characters will be checked in the matrix, and each match, mismatch, or gaps will be applied with a specific score, so that finally you will get a total alignment score of that concerned sequence. So such scoring matrices are used to determine the relative score made by matching two characters in an alignment. For every character, for example, if you are matching one A with another A, then there is a match and you have to assign a particular score in that cell. And matrices are used for determining that score. There are many types of scoring matrices for amino acid sequences, nucleotide sequences, and other codon sequences, etc. And each derived from the alignment of non-homologous sequences. So there are PAM matrices or Blossom matrices, etc. We will discuss it in detail. So how the scoring pattern or is developed from already existing non-homologous sequences. These sequences or the scoring value of these matrices is developed from already existing homologous sequences by comparing that sequences. In the previous example that we discussed in the introductory lecture on these alignment, arbitrary value, for example, +1 for an alignment, -1 for -2 for a gap, or -2 for a say mismatch, something like that. That arbitrary value was used for discussing the scoring in the previous session. But now the actual algorithms that is used for scoring such matrices were not using such arbitrary values like +1 or -2, etc. So the value actually assigned for each character, for when you are replacing one character with another character, it is a predetermined, and it's already set as a PAM matrix or Blossom matrix, etc. And that we want to discuss today. So in the case of a scoring matrix, we previously I have mentioned that the Needleman-Wunsch algorithm that is used for performing global alignment, it is using such a matrix in which the sequences were arranged on x and y axis of the table. And now let us try to understand. This is not the actual values. This is an arbitrary value, like matches and mismatches and gaps were provided with the +2, -1, -2. This can be treated as an arbitrary value. We will discuss the actual values that is used in case of when you are using Blossom matrix or PAM matrix, and that we will see later. But for just to understand the scoring pattern of a matrix, it is better you use such arbitrary values like +1 and -2 to simplify that calculation. Okay, so here you have two sequences to be compared, and it's only a very short sequence of say 6 nucleotide length. Now they can be arranged on both sides in x and y axis. So first sequence will be represented here, and second will be on this side. The scoring starts from left side bottom in this matrix, and you can alternatively arrange from top to bottom approach also can be used. In which case you will write these sequence on the x-axis on the top side and start scoring or comparing from top to bottom. So you can see matrices in which top to bottom arrangement or bottom to top arrangement is made. So that doesn't matter. You are just comparing two sequences, for example, A and A or T and G, something like that. That can be compared. If you are writing this x-axis value on both sides or top or bottom, you can do that alignment. So in case of a Needleman-Unzer algorithm that is used for performing a global alignment, the sequences were, yes. Yes, yes, yes. Is it visible now? Okay, okay, fine. So this is the scoring matrix. In the scoring matrix, you can set the sequences on x and y axis, as I mentioned here. Okay, two sequences to be compared is of 6-letter sequences, and here this is the first sequence, this is the second sequence arranged in x and y axis. As I mentioned, this sequence on x axis can be written on the top side, starting from here, and then your scoring will start from top to bottom. And if you are arranging in this manner, then your scoring pattern will start from left side bottom to top. So this is the direction, and there are scoring methods in which both type of arrangement of the matrix is made. Anyway, right now we are performing from bottom to top approach. Here what you have to do is your sequence, the first in both sides on x and y axis, the first two cells will be, these two cells will be left empty, and this cell will be given the value 0. Okay. Now in case of Needleman-Wunsch, for a global alignment, we are assigning -2 values, because if you are moving diagonal, not in x-axis or y-axis, that is horizontally or vertically in the column, you have to subtract the value of a gap. That is in matrix, when you are moving on x-axis or y-axis, that indicates insertion of a gap. So a value of -2 needs to be added if you are moving in this direction. That's why for every base, the value initially that is assigned is a 0, -2, -4, -6, and that is the value assigned, initial value. Because for every cell, if you are moving in x-axis or y-axis, horizontally or vertically, that movement will be penalized with a gap value of -2. So initially the matrix can be set something like this. Okay, this is a -2, -4, because the gap value for moving on horizontally or vertically, that will be applied initially. Okay, now this is the pattern. Now in this cell, you have these are the rules which is mentioned. Put a gap at first. You placed a gap at first, then and this is the first gap. Okay, the sequence to be compared. This is the first gap. This is the first gap of the second sequence. So you have to place a gap at the first, then box beside is a that is a plus gap. That is gap value is -2. So if you are moving box bottom is a plus gap. That is a on this side also you have to add plus gap. So for example, here you have moving from this cell to this cell, then you have to add the gap value of -2. And here also, if you are moving on this side, you have to add the gap value of -2. That's why, or that's how these sequences were arranged with the initial score values. And if you are moving diagonally, for example, moving from this cell to this cell, that will be treated as a match or mismatch, and that will be assigned with the value of a +2 or -1. We will see in the next slide. So now in this slide, say we are calculating the score value of this particular cell, the first cell, which is mentioned here. Okay, there are 3 possibilities for that cell to acquire a value. First possibility is that it can move diagonally. The value can be calculated by considering the diagonal possibility. Diagonal possibility is that it should be a match or mismatch. In case of a match or mismatch, you will move diagonally. In case of a gap, you can move horizontally or vertically. Okay. So in both cases, if you are moving from this cell to this cell, or horizontally or vertically, then in that case you have to subtract that value of gap, that is a -2 should be applied. Whereas if you are moving diagonally, then if there is a match, you will add +2. If it is a match, if it is a mismatch, you will subtract -1 in the diagonal box. Let's see how this value is acquired. The initial value is 0. The sequence is matching because it is A and A. The value is a match. So for a match, when you are moving diagonally, you have to add the match value of +2. So one possibility on the first column, left side bottom column of this cell, that can be assigned with a +2 value, because A and A are matching. A and A are matching. 0 plus 2 means this is a +2 value. Now another possibility is that you may try to insert a gap in that sequence. Then what will be the value? If you are trying to insert a value in that sequence, then the value will be -2 -2, that is -4. So that will be written in this box. And if you are inserting a gap on the other sequence, then -2 -2, that will be -4. So this particular cell can assume 3 values. One is the value for a match or mismatch, and the second one is a second and third one are the values that is assigned by inserting gap in one or other sequence. So here, once it is calculated, this value is calculated, the highest value will be assigned to this box. So then the next cell will be calculated based on the value, highest value that is assigned to this box. So in this case, you can see that the +2 is the highest value that can be assigned here. Now if the entire cell is assigned with a +2 value, then you can calculate the value of this box. Okay. The other box, the diagonal value is -2 here. -2, and this is GA is a mismatch. The GA is a mismatch, hence what happens is that -2 -1, the mismatch value will be applied here, that is -3. And if you are moving horizontally, again -4 -2, that is the gap value is added in this box, that is -6. And here the assigned value in this box will be +2, the highest value. So the +2 -2, that is 0, will be applied in this box. So the 3 possible values or scores in this cell is -6, -3 and 0, and 0 will be the highest value. This value will be applied here. So likewise, every cell can be calculated, assigned with a value by moving diagonally and horizontally and vertically. 3 values will be assigned to all the cells, and the highest value will be applied to that concerned box. Is it clear? So just I assumed that picture and that one of the cells, the initial cells, initial area. So 0, and as I mentioned, for example, the possible values are +2, and using this +2, this will be 0, this will be +1, and this will be 0. Okay. So that value will be, the highest value of that cell will be assigned. And similarly, it will be calculated. You will go on calculating by moving diagonally, horizontally and vertically. So all the values will be calculated. If you are moving diagonally, if it is a match, you will add 2. If it is a mismatch, you will subtract 1. And if you are moving, say the value that is transferred from the left side or right side, or left side or bottom, then that value will be -2. You will subtract 2 from that value. So from the possible 3 values that can be assigned to a cell, the highest value will be taken and assigned to that particular cell. Is it clear? Okay, once again, let me explain once again. So for every sequence comparison, you have a three possibilities, right? For example, you can compare two sequences at this position. The A and A in this case is a match, right? Whereas in this cell, G and A, it is G and this is A. So this cell corresponds to G and A, that is a mismatch. Is it clear? Okay. So for a match, you have to add the value of a +2. The arbitrary value, that is scoring value, that is given here is a +2, right? So from to the diagonal box, you need to, if it is a match, you will add the match value of +2 and it will be written in this box. Since it is 0 and we have a match in this position, you will write the +2 value here, that is a match value. Okay. So there is one possibility of a mismatch. For example, in this case, we have a mismatch, that is a G and A, they are mismatches, right? So in the case of a mismatch, what you have to do is, to the diagonal value, you will add the mismatch value of -1. So -2 -1, you will get -3. Okay. So one possibility is assigning the value of a match and mismatch to the diagonal box. And another possibility is that you will try to insert gaps in both sequences. That's what we are doing when we are comparing, right? You will see whether it is a match, whether it is a mismatch, or if you try to insert a gap in one sequence or other sequence, then what will happen? And you have to find the best score, right? You will see whether it is a match, it is a mismatch, or by inserting gap in one or other sequence, which score will be higher, that will be obtained. Okay. So by inserting gap in one sequence, for example, in this sequence, you will move horizontally. So in that case, the gap value of -2 should be added to the value here in the previous box. So -4, -2 will be given and it will be arbitrarily written here. It's for your understanding. Okay. So if you are providing the mismatch value here, that will be written on the top on this box left side, and on the top side you can assign this value, that is a mismatch value. And here also we have a mismatch, and if you are moving from in this direction, the value of this cell should be added with the gap value of -2, that is +2 -2, that is 0. So we have only three possibilities. One is a match of that sequence. Wherever you are comparing, for example, you can compare any cell with this one. For example, C and C will be matching in this point. Okay, this cell is a C and C. So to assign that value of C and C, you have to add the score value, concerned match or mismatch values to the previous cells, that is diagonal box, left side box, and bottom box. So to the left side and bottom box, you will add the gap, because it is a movement of horizontal or vertical movement. And in that case, the only possibility is that you have to add the gap value of -2. So that will be done. And in case of a diagonal movement, we have two options. There may be match or a mismatch. In case of match, you will add the match value, and in the case of a mismatch, you will add the mismatch value, and it will be written. And once all these three values were assigned to this particular box, what happens? The highest value will be taken. So the highest value is actually written here. For example, this is a 0. Since it is A and A, it is a match, 0 plus 2. And here A and here, if you are writing the value acquired from left side, that is -2 plus 2, that is 0. And sorry, -2 -2, that's -4. And from this point again, -2 -2, that will be -4 in this point. So the highest value +2 will be taken. And again, next column, for example, this one is a mismatch. Okay, so in the case of a mismatch, again you can calculate similarly. That is the minus 2 is the value here, minus 2 minus 3, the minus 3 will be here, and here plus 2 is there, plus 2 minus 2, that is 0. So that value of this movement is taken here. That means a gap is inserted in the sequence. And this scoring pattern or scoring algorithm will assign the values for each and every cell, and they will add the value of a match, mismatch, or the gap to that cell, and the highest value of each cell will be taken. So this is how a scoring matrix will calculate. So you can see that you can go on filling the entire matrix by assigning the value. For example, if you take this one, you will calculate diagonal value, horizontal value, and bottom value, and all the values will be taken. So similarly, you can calculate the entire matrix, and the value will be assigned. So once that scoring is done, then you will initiate the second step, that is a traceback step. Traceback means starting from the highest value on the top side, you will draw a diagonal. So once it is here, then the highest value is this one. So you will move left. So that left side movement is by inserting a gap in the concerned sequence. And again, you can move to the next highest value, next highest value, next highest value in the next time. So by connecting the highest values, you can draw a line, and that is known as a traceback. So that traceback, and this is another representation in which the scoring is started from the top side to bottom. Okay, it is arranged on the other side, and the same calculation can be made from top to bottom with another scoring pattern. Here you can see that instead of minus 2 value, minus 1 is added, subtracted on the left side. So arbitrarily, for example, match, mismatch, and gap, they were equally assigned with a value of 1 instead of 2. So you can use another scoring value, another penalty for gap, etc., and that can be again calculated. In this case, you will calculate the value from bottom to top to bottom, and then trace back from bottom to top with the highest values. So that's done. And okay, in this picture you can see that this gap, for example, this gap is corresponding to this movement, because AC and A and AC, after AC we have a mismatch. So in the case of a mismatch, you will insert a gap when there is a horizontal movement. And on the second sequence, if there is a vertical movement here, then another gap will be inserted. So the program will calculate the values, and if there is a horizontal movement, gap will be inserted in one sequence, and if there is a vertical movement, then the gap will be inserted in the second sequence, and the sequences were perfectly aligned based on the alignment score. So this is how the matrices were scored by now if you understand this concept, you can easily understand the PAM and Blossom matrices. So the scoring of the activity of scoring of the matrix is similar in all the cases. The values will vary. So what is the value of gap or match or mismatch? That will be dependent on PAM or Blossom matrix. Different types of matrices will have different patterns of scoring, but the actual scoring of the calculation algorithm is almost similar. If you understand this one, how each and every cell will be acquiring a value taking into account of the previously assigned, that is a diagonal and left side and bottom cells. That if you by adding or subtracting values to that cells, each cell will acquire its own score, and the highest score on each line or each row will be taken while considering the while you are performing the traceback. So during the traceback, if you are moving diagonal, that means it is they are matching. You can write the sequence as such. And if you are moving horizontally, you will insert gap in the first sequence. And if you are moving vertically, then you will insert a gap on the second sequence at that position. And this is how the program score the matrix and align the sequence. And in this example, we are using arbitrary values of +2, -1, or +1. And in this example, the value assigned is a match is assigned with 1, mismatch is with -1, gap is with -1. So that score that is assigned may vary from matrix to matrix. And then we need to understand the other categories like say PAM and Blossom matrices. Is this a scoring that method of scoring is okay for you? So, so there, anyway, you can go through that, and we'll have further discussions if you have any difficulty in that one. So the point is that there are only 3 possibilities. That is a match, mismatch, and a gaps. The concerned value will be added to the diagonal box or left side or right side box, and the highest value of each cell will be taken. And once you complete all the value, all the calculations in all the cells, then you will trace back with the highest value, starting with the highest value. Then you will trace back, and if there is a horizontal movement, then insert a gap in the first sequence, and if there is a vertical movement, insert gap in the second sequence. That is the procedure. Okay. So the second category is a Smith-Waterman algorithm that is used for local alignment. This also works in a similar fashion, but the point is that there is no negative values. Initially, the matrix is set up with 0 values on the first row and the first column. And in the case of Needleman-Wunsch algorithm, we are giving minus values like -2, -4, -6, etc. But in this case, all the rows and any first row and column will be assigned with the value of 0. And another point is that during the calculation, there is no negative values in the cell. If there is a negative value, 0 will be assigned. So the lowest possible value in this Smith-Waterman algorithm is 0. And likewise, it calculates the value. And finally, the remaining step of a traceback is almost same as that of the Needleman-Wunsch algorithm. And likewise, the sequence is aligned. Okay, so the difference is one that in the first row and column will be assigned with 0 values, and there is no negative values. And if there is a negative value, 0 will be assigned to that cell, and there is only positive values. And whereas in the case of Needleman-Wunsch algorithm, negative values were also there. Okay, is it okay? Now we come to the actual value that can be or the score that can be subtracted or added, and instead of the arbitrary value, what should be the actual value? We need to understand that one. So there are, as I mentioned, there are many type of matrices like PAM matrix, Blossom matrix, etc. Here, you know that the genetic code, actually the degeneracy of the genetic code is already known to you. Many codons will code for the same amino acid, and these genetic code actually describes many codons corresponding to the same amino acid. It's already known to you. And if you take the example of leucine, we have possibly 2 codons, and arginine again, many types, many amino acids were having multiple codons. Now, consider the difference between the amino acids. Here, we have TAT and TAC, that codon codes for tyrosine. So the difference is on the last base, that is T or C alternatively, that can be used for coding tyrosine. But if it is mutated like TTT or TTC, then that becomes phenylalanine. A single letter editing of these will result in change of tyrosine to phenylalanine. And again, a single letter change of GAT or GAC. So the first letter T is replaced by G, and then you have aspartic acid produced. So a single letter mutation of tyrosine, or that code for tyrosine, will result in such a different amino acid like phenylalanine or aspartic acid. And these mutation probabilities will be different for various amino acids because there is degeneracy. In most of the cases, if a slight change or a single letter modification will not affect in any phenotypic change, or the same protein will be coded because it corresponds to it's a silent mutation, and that same amino acid will be coded, and there is no evolutionary significance for that particular mutation. So if you are considering some evolutionary distance based on such sequence or such a mutation or such sequence such mutations in the sequence, then you need to take into account the probability of the mutation, because all mutations were not equal. Some mutations will result in very closely related amino acid, or in most of the cases same amino acid, uh, because of the degeneracy of the code, and as a result there will not be any say change or phenotypic change in that organism. So that means every mutation is not same in a genetic code, and you have to treat every mutation, every base change in a genetic code differently because of these evolutionary differences or possible or contribution to the evolution, because they differ in the contribution to the evolution, and based on which the probability, mutation probability will be higher in some case of some type of say amino acids, and whereas in other cases that much possibility, the replacement of a particular base with another base will be minimal in some cases, whereas in some cases will be a higher possibility of replacement of a particular base with a particular nucleotide with another one. So this difference in the mutation possibilities will be taken into account while you are calculating the evolutionary distance. So we have a substitution matrix, that is a PAM, point accepted mutations. Substitution matrices between amino acids developed by Margaret Dayoff, and it is published in 1978 in the Protein Atlas. And they compared 71 protein families and determined the frequency of changing one amino acid to another. So based on their comparison of 17 protein families, Margaret Dayoff they published a matrix, a scoring matrix, and it is actually the probability of change of one particular amino acid to another amino acid. So if the probability of changing probability of a particular amino acid with another one is higher, then it doesn't have that much evolutionary significance. But if the probability of a change of one particular amino acid to another is much less, and still you can see such amino acids were changing, then that means they represent a very long evolutionary distance, because it will take maybe a longer period of time to occur that mutation. So the mutation probability, or the changing frequency of one amino acid to another, where it is determined by comparing 71 protein families and the created PAM matrix. So that is a point accepted mutations matrix. So this is also known as a substitution matrix for amino acids. And another category of matrices that is developed is BLOSUM, that is a block substitution matrix. And substitution matrix between amino acids, it's also a substitution matrix between amino acids, and it is developed by Henikoff, and it is published in 1992. Now there are different types of matrices like PAM 100, and here 100, 120, 160, 200 and 250, whereas in case of BLOSUM, that is a 90, 80, 62, 50. These are popular matrices, and you may note that they were arranged in the reverse order. For example, here it is written in the ascending order, whereas it is written in the descending order, because PAM 100 almost corresponds to BLOSUM 90, because lower PAM value indicates a very similar sequence, or this is used for comparing very closely related sequence, whereas PAM 250 is used for comparing very distant sequence with very little similarity. Whereas BLOSUM with a higher value, BLOSUM 90, is used for comparing very closely related similar homologous sequences, and BLOSUM with lower values like 45 is used for comparing very distantly related sequence with a lot of differences. So when you compare different types of PAM and BLOSUM matrices, these differences will be there. A lower PAM value is used for a sequence of high similarity, whereas a lower BLOSUM value is used for comparing the same. And this is one of the differences between PAM and BLOSUM matrices. Now see the case of a PAM matrix which is shown here. Here, every amino acid is 20 amino acids were represented and the corresponding value is given. And that means if you look into, say, Y with T, that is a value with the replacement of one amino acid Y with the T will be assigned with a score of -3. So by calculating, when calculating, instead of considering the arbitrary values of -2 or -1, etc., such values or replacement based on the probability of the substitutions, these values from the PAM matrix is used for calculating. And that is actually, these values were developed by comparing, say, 71 protein families and the substitution of one amino acid by another. The probability of substitution of one amino acid by another in that family is considered, and based on which a probability value is calculated, and that score is mentioned in this matrix. So amino acids are grouped according to the chemistry of the side group. For example, sulfhydryl or small hydrophilic or acid, acid amide and hydrophilic, etc. You know that the amino acids can be classified based on their groups and properties. Then here the probability of alignment of YY with YY, that is the same sequence. Two amino acids, the same YY with YY is for example, the value of Y with Y in this cell is this one, that is 10. So it is actually 20. Whereas YY with TP, if you YY is replaced with TP, another one. So that probability is say -3 and -5. So for example, Y replaced with the T, that is -3. Y replaced with the P, that is -5. So -3 and -5, you got -8 value. So this probability is a rare and unexpected in homologous sequences. So if you compare a sequence, you can with a high probability you can align YY with YY. Same sequence can be aligned with because there is not much change. The same sequence can be aligned with a high probability. Whereas the probability of finding a replacement of YY, that two amino acids with the other two amino acids, that is TP. So that will be less, and it is a finding such a replacement of two Y's with the TP is a rare probability. So that based on that's a probability of substitution of one or two amino acids with another set of amino acids. So when you are aligning the sequence and comparing that score value, these matrix values need to be considered and see whether there is a probable alignment or not, and based on which the value of the cell is assigned to the matrix. So a PAM matrix is a matrix where each column and row represent one of the 20 standard amino acids. In bioinformatics, PAM matrices are regularly used as substitution matrices to score sequence alignments for proteins. Each entry in a PAM matrix indicates the likelihood of the amino acid of that row being replaced by amino acid of that column through a series of one or more point accepted mutations during the specified evolutionary interval, rather than these two amino acids being aligned due to chance. So there is a possibility that a random by chance alignment can be expected, but usually a sequence, if you are accepting that one, it should be a mutation, and the probability of that mutation of a amino acid in one string with another amino acid that is the editing that is required to change one string into another. So the probability of conversion or a substitution of one amino acid with another is calculated, and that value is used for calculating this matrix. Then different PAM matrices correspond to different lengths of time in the evolution of the protein sequence. In the case of PAM matrix, you can see PAM 100, PAM 120, or PAM 150, or PAM 250, etc. So For say palm 10, you take the case. That means palm 10 means there is a 10 accepted mutations out of 100 amino acids. If you take a length of 10 amino acids, then sorry, 100 amino acid length sequence of a protein, 10 mutations should be accepted mutations should be there in that sequence. PAM 250 means out of the 100 amino acids, 250 editings, 250 mutations. So that means the same amino acid will be replaced two or three times. So that much changing probability is there in case of such a higher value matrices like PAM 250. So two sequences S1 and S2 are evolution sequence at evolutionary distance of one palm or palm 1. If S1 has converted to S2 with an average of one accepted point mutation per 100 amino acids. So value is calculated based on a length of 100 amino acids. So a protein sequence of 100 amino acids will have one. If there is only one mutation, then palm 1 then can be used. If there is a probability of 100 amino acid mutations in 100 amino acids, so then that will be palm 100. So for take the case of a protein with a 100 amino acid length, and if there is a probable mutation for each and every amino acid, all the 100 amino acids, then it requires a very long evolutionary period. Maybe millions of years will be taken for changing all the 100 amino acids. So usually that needs to be that indicates a longer evolutionary period, and palm 250 means maybe it is 205 or 2500 million years may be required for changing 250 times the amino acids in the same sequence. Whereas palm 1 means one editing is done only in case of a say 100 amino acids, and that is probable because maybe in a very short period that editing or that change can occur. So in that case, they are actually treated as a if you are comparing if you can compare two sequences with a very low palm score, then that means they are very closely related. Very slight changes were there. But if there are more probabilities of the change, then that changes will be accumulated only during a very long evolutionary period, maybe millions of years, and that requires to be calculated using a PAM matrix of with a higher value like a PAM 250. So that means they are distantly related or unrelated species. Okay. The acceptance is implied by natural selection, means point accepted. This is known as point accepted mutation. So accepted mutation means that change or changed amino acid needs to be accepted by natural selection. Either the mutated protein has the same function or it has a different function, but it is beneficial to the organism, then only it will be accepted. And anyway, this PAM actually indicates the evolutionary distance. So lower PAM value means they are very closely related. If there is a more probabilities of the changes, that means they are very distantly related, and that means it may take millions of years of evolution to occur that much mutations. Maybe 250 mutations in 100 amino acids. Maybe that will take a longer time. So PAM and other matrices are represented in log odd scores, which is the ratio of a chance of amino acid substitution due to the essential biological reason to a chance random substitution. So you need to differentiate between chance or random substitutions with the essential biological mutations. And there are many differences in different PAMs which are representing different evolutionary scenarios, like PAM say 100, PAM 50, 120, PAM 50, or PAM 250, etc. Okay. So the next matrix that we discussed is the BLOSSOM matrix, and BLOSSOM is a block substitution matrix. And in a substitution, this is a substitution. Yes, yes. Hmm. That means it will take a very long evolutionary time. The editing number of yes. No, The same thing, same that's what I explained. The same amino acid at the same position. For example, 10th amino acid may be replaced 3 times. So multiple times the possibility is there, right? So that means there are maybe, for example, initially the 10th amino acid is replaced with the tyrosine, then it is replaced with the valine, then it is replaced with something else. 3 editing possibilities at one position is there, right? At least in that case, at least 2.5 editing possibilities are there for every position of the 100. Okay, that's it. So anyway, that means that much editing is there, but for that it requires a longer time. So such sequences, if there is, if means if you are trying to compare two, say, entirely different sequences. For example, insulin gene and say another enzyme, papain, for example. You are comparing two entirely different proteins. You can, or for example, or in the case of a globin gene, for example, you are taking in that, but they are distantly related. They have same origin. So you have a lot of sequences in common. But if they are distantly related, or if there is no relation at all, then if you are comparing it, and then maybe you can't expect much similarity there, right? It is possible. Just you can take any two sequences and try to compare gene A and gene B. They are not related, and they, maybe it's very distant. And in that case, if you want to align them wherever possible regions are there, if you want to align them, then you require a very relaxed form of comparison, not so stringent, right? In that case, you need to relax the criteria. You will say in the case of some blast search when you are performing, there may be highly similar sequences, one option is there, or somewhat similar sequences will be there, highly dissimilar sequences will be there. You can select any option. So if you are not getting any result with a highly similar sequence option, then you can relax it by selecting somewhat similar sequence. So it will relax the scoring pattern and see whether with a large number of mutation possibilities, whether it is matching or not. Again, if you can somewhat or highly dissimilar sequence, if you click on that option, then it will again relax the criteria, and after that comparison, maybe out of the 500 base pairs that you're comparing, maybe only 5 or 10 matches will be there, or only very few matches will be there. And so likewise, you can relax the criteria. Okay. For example, you are comparing two persons, the same photograph of a person can be compared, or you can compare the photographs of maybe brothers, maybe they are different. And if you can maybe entirely different, some person like an Indian and a Chinese man, which doesn't have any features at all, but still you can compare that. Okay, they have maybe a black hair, or some other features will be there, right? And that will be matching. And if your comparison is so relaxed, then you need to use such matrices with high mutation possibilities, like matrices with high palm score or low blossom score. Okay. Hello? Okay. So in the case of the blossom matrix, here this is a substitution matrix used for sequence alignment of proteins, and blossom matrices are used to score local alignments between evolutionarily divergent protein sequences. So this is used for basically for local alignment. And blossom matrices are first introduced in a paper by Henikoff and Henikoff in 1992, I think. And they scan the blocks database. These blocks is a database. So just like motifs and other things, there is a protein block database is there. And blocks database for they are actually used for for keeping or storing the conserved regions of protein families. So, for example, the globin protein family, as I mentioned, they may have them. The entire family of the protein may have a lot of conserved domains, and that conserved regions were stored in the blocks database. So the conserved domains means very little change is expected in that region during the evolutionary period. So that's why the different members of the same family is having some regions of similarity. So that conserved domains where maybe actually they're contributing the protein function or biological activity, and there is no change in that region. The other regions of the protein may have changes, but the blocks were actually obtained from such conserved domains in the protein families. So if you compare that sequences, the blocks, and see if there is any change or then if there is any possibility of change in that blocks, that will be very rare, because one concept is that for the 16 sequencing of proteins, the 16 sequencing based classification is done because 16 sequences were usually conserved. And for other genes, there are a lot of mutation possibilities are there. But comparatively, 16 sequences were conserved. That means you can compare the organisms or differentiate the organisms based on 16 sequences. If there is an editing or there is a change in the 16 sequence, then that means there is a significant change in the protein, also in the concerned genus of the organism. So likewise, the protein families will have their own conserved domains, and if there is a change in any of that region, conserved region, that is a significant mutation that might have occurred during maybe hundreds of years of evolution, and that possibility needs to be addressed. If such a change is there, then based on that, probability of amino acids changes in such conserved domains, you can create a statistical scoring value. The Blossom matrices actually they are used, they are developed using such a by comparing these say protein conserved domain regions and the concerned changes that is occurring, or the changes that is occurring, the frequency of the changes that is occurring in that regions. So and then counted the relative frequencies of amino acids and their substitution probabilities in these conserved regions were calculated to generate the Blossom matrix. Then they calculated the log odd score of for each of the 210 possible substitution pairs of the 20 standard amino acids. So their log odd values were calculated, statistical values were calculated, and all Blossom matrices are based on observed alignments because it is from the blocks database of conserved domains, and they are not extrapolated from comparisons of closely related proteins like PAM matrix, but they are actually generated from observed regions because we have a block database with the conserved regions of the protein families, and from that actual value these block substitution values of the matrix is generated. Then several sets of Blossom matrices exist using different alignment databases with named with the numbers, and Blossom matrices with high numbers are designated designed for comparing closely related sequences. As I mentioned, Blossom 90, for example, they were used for comparing closely related sequences like that of a PAM 100. And for example, Blossom 80 is used for less divergent alignments, and Blossom 45 is used for more divergent alignments, or very little similarity sequences may be compared with a lower score Blossom matrix. So when you are submitting two sequences for comparison, you can select which matrix you require. So if your sequences were not properly aligned, you can bring down that say the matrix value so that it will be aligned with a more relaxed algorithm. And the matrices were created by merging or clustering all the sequences that were more similar than a given percentage into one single sequence and then comparing those sequences. So this is created by clustering all the sequences or grouping all the sequences and then comparing that one, okay, for the sequences for generating the matrix. And the percentage used was appended to the name, giving, for example, if you are using Blossom 80 for example, where sequences that were more than 80% identical were clustered. So Blossom 80 matrix is generated by comparing sequences of more than 80% identity, whereas Blossom 90 matrix is generated by comparing or the blocks of the sequences with the more than 90% similarity. But if your matrix is generated with the sequences with only 45% identity in the block, then that is a BLOSUM 45. So BLOSUM 45, that number means the matrix is generated with the sequences of sequences more than 45% similarity. That is it is generated with the more divergent sequences. So it will be more relaxed if you are bringing down the BLOSUM score. So this is another diagram that shows the matrix of BLOSUM 62, which is a commonly used block substitution matrix. And similarly, you can see the values there, and that value will be used in the matrix while calculating the alignment score. So here we have a PAM and BLOSUM comparison, and they are used for PAM is used for to compare closely related sequences. PAM matrices with lower numbers are created. Then a comparatively closely related species were compared using this BLOSUM, and for higher number BLOSUM matrices were usually created for distant relatives. And to compare distantly related proteins, PAM matrices with high numbers, and whereas for that purpose, low number BLOSUM matrices is used for distant relatives. And based on the global alignments, this is made based on the global alignments of closely related proteins, whereas in BLOSUM is created based on a local alignment of the proteins. PAM1 is a matrix calculated from the comparison of the sequence with no more than 1% divergence, but corresponds to 99% identity. So PAM1 is the most identical sequence. Okay, and BLOSUM 62 is means that is generated with the pairwise comparison of the sequences with more than 62% identity. And one PAM matrices are extrapolated from PAM1. Those other PAM matrices are extrapolated from PAM1 and PAM100 or PAM250, etc., or whatever that can be generated from the same concept. And based on the observed alignments, they are not extrapolated from the comparisons of closely related proteins. So they are calculated separately, because PAM is actually calculated from using the same algorithm. Because if there is one mutation, then PAM1. If there is 150 mutation per 100, then that is PAM50. If there is 250 mutations in a sequence of 100, then that is PAM250. So it's actually an extrapolation. Whereas in the other case, the matrix is separately generated by comparing sequences of similarity higher than 62% or sequence of similarity higher than 45%. So they will be clustered and it will be separately analyzed to generate that matrix in case of BLOSUM. And higher numbers in matrices in a matrix naming schemes denote larger evolutionary distance, whereas in case of the BLOSUM, larger numbers in matrices naming scheme denote higher sequence similarity and therefore smaller evolutionary distance. So higher number of BLOSUM is good, whereas lower number of PAM is good for sequences of a high similarity. So this is once again. And now a few more points that is related with the position specific matrix. That is another category. And position specific matrix is actually nowadays NCBI is using this type of matrix for PSI, PSI-BLAST. That is one of the features in NCBI. And it is derived from a set of aligned sequences that are thought to be functionally related. So in the first step in this matrix construction is constructing a position weight matrix. This is also known as PSWM is also known as a position specific weight matrix or a position weight matrix. Alternatively, it can be called as PWM. And the first one is a position frequency matrix creation. That is the first step of creation. And it is created by counting the occurrence of each nucleotide at each position. I will show you in the next slide. And first step is the creation of a position frequency matrix. And from this matrix, position probability matrix is created. Let us see, you are comparing a closely, say 10 closely related sequences. And at the first position, you can see there are various bases represented. And the possibilities is there. There are only 4 possibilities, and the total 10 bases that is present on the first position is 3 adenines, 2 cytosine, 1 guanine and 4 T. So that is the probability of the bases that is occurring at the first position. And for every position of this similar sequence, 1 to 10th position, you will calculate the probability of each base to occur. So this is the position frequency matrix. So this can be generated by counting the occurrence of the bases on each position of that 10 similar sequences. Then a position probability matrix is generated because this indicates 0.3% or 30% probability is there. So that value of the probability is actually generated in the next step. That is the second step. Okay, now there are equations for that, and based on which the likelihood, the log likelihood of that's a statistical value, and that can be calculated from this value, from the position probability matrix. The log likelihood values were generated using the previously shown equation. It is shown here. That formula is there, and that value is calculated. And this is the actual position specific weight matrix, and this actually concerns, for example, say there is a high probability of what T to occur at that point, whereas the other two less. So the probability of a occurrence of a particular base at a position in that sequence is generated using such a probability matrix, and this is used for comparing the sequences. So such type of matrices were known as position specific weight matrices, which is actually used in case of a SciBLAST etc. of a NCBI, that is based on position specific iterative BLAST. Okay, position specific iterated BLAST, SciBLAST provides an automated, easy to use version of the profile search, which is sensitive, which is a sensitive way to look into the frequency of the homologs. And the program first performs a gapped BLAST of the database. And first of all, if you submit a query sequence into the NCBI using SciBLAST, it will initially perform a BLAST search, and it will list all the similar or most similar sequences. A few sequences like 10 or 100 sequences will be listed, and they will be taken, and it will generate a matrix based on that sequence. So by accepting your input, it will perform a BLAST search, then get the related items or similar items, and based on that, by comparing all these things and aligning that similar sequences, it will generate a position specific matrix as we previously discussed. And using that matrix values or scoring values, the remaining BLAST or detailed BLAST will be performed. So that type of a BLAST is known as position specific iterated BLAST or SciBLAST. So this is the procedure. You give an input sequence in SciBLAST, it performs a BLAST search, and from the result of the BLAST search, it creates a position specific matrix. Then do a BLAST search using that say matrix values, and finally you will get the complete query result using the final search, final BLAST search of that database. So this is how SciBLAST is performed, and SciBLAST is actually used. It is developed based on like the position specific weight matrix. So that is the concept. Is it clear? Any doubts?